Over 90% of the time, it's either one of two things why your washing machine won't spin. Either your lid switch is faulty or your motor coupling's broke. If your washing machine sounds like this during the spin cycle, then it's a motor coupling. If your lid is shut and nothing happens during the spin cycle, it's probably your lid switch. I'll replace the motor coupling first, so feel free to skip ahead where I start to replace the faulty switch. Okay, first thing, unplug your machine, and then you could turn off your water if you'd like. Tilt your washer back and then put something underneath it to stabilize it. I took off the shell. You don't have to, but it does make it easier, but make sure you watch my video on how to do it because it can be a bear. To the left is the water pump, and in the middle is the motor, and to the right is the transmission. And in between the motor and the transmission is the main motor coupling. This is my coupling, and you can see it's completely trashed. You should be able to move this freely by hand. Just make sure that the rubber piece in the middle and the two outside plastic pieces are moving as one piece. So now we need to take off the pump. I'm going to take off this hose as well to get it out of the way, but you really don't need to. First up, take off these clips, and a screwdriver works good for them. To remove these clips, you just spin them and come out. Now when you go to put them on, you go like so, and then they just clip on. Same as these black ones when we get to it. Now this whole assembly gets pulled off the shaft and out of the way. Now it's time to remove these screws. Mine are 5/16 inch, and I know a lot of them are also 1/4 inch. Now we remove the brackets, and I find it's best to use a screwdriver. Now when you take your last bracket off, just be careful because it could all come apart on you. Okay, just lower down the motor now. And you'll need a screwdriver or a chisel in this case to pry off the other piece. And you can just pull the other piece off with your hand. Okay, now that that's out, we can go ahead and clean it. So now it's time for your coupling assembly. As you can see, that shaft has notches right here and right here. So that's where you're going to want to align your notches here and here. Wiggle it back and forth and press it till it bottoms out. You may need to hammer it in, but just be really careful. Put your rubber piece in, it doesn't matter which way. Slide that on. Now you're going to want to make sure that this side is at the 12 o'clock position, because when you have this on the motor shaft, you're going to want to align it and you can have some trouble. So now we're ready for this next piece. Give it a little tap. You can see that it's flush here. So we remember that the white paper was on the bottom. So this is our bottom, which means this now needs to go into the 12 o'clock position. Now lift your motor. Make sure it's at 12 o'clock one last time. Another thing to note are these 3 rubber bushings go into these 3 holes. This should have a stud, but I just broke it off, which isn't a big deal. But this goes in here. So you'll want to align these 3 holes with these here, as well as inserting those. And it's really as simple as that if everything's lined up. Now just hold it in place or else it might go like this. Oof. Now we need to get our brackets. As you hold it with one hand, use this notched out area right here to get this notched in. Now your screws. Nice and snug, they don't need to be too tight. Now we have to install the pump. I'm going to start by connecting this hose. Now we got to connect the shaft to the water pump. And you can spin this to make it however. Now, there are some studs that go in here. Get them lined up on all four. Now we can put our clips back on. And it's that simple to replace the motor coupling. Now you just need to buy the right part. Now I'm going to teach you how to replace the lid safety switch. If you do test that it's the safety switch that is bad and you have clothes that need to be done ASAP and you can't wait for the part to come in, I do have a way that I'll show you to bypass the whole safety switch. Do it at your own risk, but it is a way to limp you along until the pressure switch comes in. Unplug your machine. Now we need to take off the hood, and to do that, remove the two screws. You're going to want to pull out and then bring it up. Some washers have it where you have to put a putty knife underneath there. Now, press down this clip and pull up. With the lid closed, we need to test for continuity. Now, your cable may have different colors, but test the two that are not green. So I'll test the two on the outside right down here. And if the lid is working right, if the lid switch is working right, which it is, you should get continuity. But you can see if I open the lid, the switch cuts off the circuit. So that's working properly. And what this does is when this stud comes down, it presses on this and it switches off. It's a safety sensor. So if this switch is bad, it won't send a signal to tell you to spin. So this is my lid switch, and you can tell when the lid comes down, it's working. But I just broke this screw housing off right here, so I'm going to order one on Amazon. Now, I've got to do laundry before the part gets here, so what you can do is you can bypass this safety switch. Now hold up, if you bypass this switch with a wire, be sure that nobody, especially kids, can get in the laundry room and open up that lid. People have gotten seriously hurt by bypassing the lid safety switch. So just make sure that it's a temporary fix, and when your part comes in, you get it replaced right away. I'm waiting for my part as we speak, and when it comes in, I'll throw it in and put a video on there so you could watch how to install it. But for now, just do the same thing I showed you on how to take it off in reverse. The ground is the green, so we want to jump the sides right here. This is just a piece of wire that I stripped. And just for added safety, I'm going to tape it. Now we're going to remove the pressure sensor. Just take out these two screws. I went ahead and removed the outside shell. It's really easy to do, but only if you watch my video on how to do it, because it can be a bear. As you can see, this is our plug-in that we took off. This is our switch that we took off. Here is the ground. And this has a clip here and a clip under here. Press this out. Same with this one here. Okay, now we fold our hood over. I find it's best to lift up, and then it should come on over. Now for our screws. Before I show you how to order the correct part, if I've added any value to your life or saved you money, if you can help me out by subscribing and hitting the like button. Also, you could support my channel by clicking on an Amazon link below and buying anything on Amazon. I get a small kickback and it's no extra charge to you. The best way is to look at the broken part, and you see that this has a 62672. So we can try that. Now we just go to my YouTube to click my affiliate link, so I get a little kickback. No cost to you. Type in the part number. This is the one I bought, and you can see right here, 62672 will fit. If you don't have the part number, You can look it up on your washing machine. So now we know this is the model of my washing machine, and I need a motor coupler. I could just Google the number, and this comes up, and direct drive motor coupling, that's what we're looking for. So right here, I verify this is my washing machine, and it says it fits. Manufacturer part number, this is what we want. So I'll copy that, go back into one of my videos, copy my part number in, and here we go. This is the one that I bought. And just to verify, there's the part number that'll fit. Well, I hope that wasn't too bad for you. I hope you feel empowered and confident to go into your next project and do something else that you didn't think you had the skills to do. So stay tuned. I've got a lot of great videos coming up in the future to make you a little more handy.